Alright guys, welcome back to the web. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And those who are new, welcome to the channel. This topic, I'm gonna just touch bases. It's not gonna be like drawn out either, but what I wanted to do was to let persons understand that from a wealth basis, the rich have always been evading and avoiding being taxed at the highest rate or evade taxes overall, as little taxes as possible. That's how they get away with it. But there's a flip side to it where you're like, okay, they create jobs and so forth, they get incentivized by the government. Some of these offshore accounts and dummy corporations and companies, etc., I'm using that word loosely, they are basically loopholes into which they can hide their assets so that they're not highly taxed by having their money tied up in places where the government and other businesses can easily reach it, where they can disclose their assets and the government tax it to the higher tax bracket, so they try to hide it. Alright, I'm gonna just dive into the Pandora Papers. This is coming from euronews.com. The topic says Pandora Papers, everything you need to know about the ICIJ's latest bombshell investigation. Alright, let's dive right into it. As I said before guys, I'm not gonna try and draw it out. On Sunday evening, the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, ICIJ, published an explosive investigation dubbed the Pandora Papers, highlighting how world leaders, personalities, and business executives hid $11.3 trillion in more than 29,000 offshore companies in countries or territories with favorable taxation. Following the Panama Papers in 2016, in which the ICIJ exposed those involved in one of the world's leading firms incorporating offshore companies, the Pandora Papers are one of the biggest data leaks in history, revealing how the rich and powerful have been hiding their investments in mansions, exclusive beachfront property, yachts, and other assets for the past quarter of a century. Who is implicated in the leak? Links have been established by the ICIJ between offshore assets and a total of 336 top executives and politicians who created nearly 1,000 shell companies. More than 2/3 of these companies were registered in the British Virgin Islands. According to the documents unearthed by the ICIJ, King Abdullah II of Jordan created at least 30 offshore companies through these entities. He purchased 14 luxury properties in the United States and the United Kingdom for more than $106 million. As a billionaire, Czech Prime Minister Andrej Babis, he placed $22 million in shell companies which were used to finance the purchase of Chateau Bigard, a large property located in Mougins in the south of France. Ecuadorian President Guillermo Lasso has large funds in two trusts headquartered in South Dakota in the US. Among the other personalities implicated in the papers are former Prime Minister Tony Blair, Colombian singer Shakira, German model Claudia Schiffer, and Indian cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar. In most countries, there will be little to no legal consequences from these revelations for those involved, but in the case of leaders, the ICIJ noted how the anti-corruption disclosure exposed by some of them doesn't square with their investment in tax havens. Alright guys, I'm gonna try and be quick. So just how big was the data haul? ICIJ investigations are almost always illustrated by dizzying numbers uncovered during the course of their journalistic work. In this case, the Pandora Papers comprise some 11.9 million documents, 2.94 terabyte trove of information leaked from the confidential records of 14 offshore service providers. This data was shared with journalists in various formats. More than half of the files, 6.4 million, were tax documents, including more than 14 million PDFs, some of which ran to more than 10,000 pages, the ICIJ said. The documents included passports, bank statements, tax declarations, company incorporation records, real estate contracts, and due diligence questionnaires. There were also more than 4.1 million images and emails in the leak. Only 4% of the files were structured with data organized in tables, spreadsheets, CSV files, and a few DBF files. Or it should be, I don't know if it's PDF, maybe a typo, I do not know. Other records included slideshows and audio and video files. To explore and analyze the information in the Pandora Papers, ICIJ identified files that contained beneficial ownership information by company and jurisdiction and structured it accordingly. Each provider's data required a different process, the consortium said. In order to make sense of more complex cases, the ICIJ used machine learning and other tools, including the Fourier and scikit-learn softwares, to identify and separate specific forms and longer documents. Some provider forms were handwritten, requiring journalists to extract information manually, the ICIJ said. Alright, this continues more on to the in-depth of what are, in fact, who is the ICIJ? Who are they? Alright, I'll skip over that. If you want more information, you just go into the description. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Remember, please like and subscribe. It'll help the YouTube algorithm and it'll help me out. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.